Okay, today we're going to talk about using bits for your miniatures. Now there's a couple of reasons that you might want to do it. Bits can always make your pieces look much better, much more equaled out without a lot of the problems. Now using bits a lot of times means you're using metal pieces onto a plastic piece. So gluing them on might be a little bit more difficult, but other than that, there's a host of things that you can do that bits allow you to do. And not only can you buy packs either from your local store or online or whatever, but you can also go through your old sprues with stuff that you haven't used before and use bits from that. And we'll probably get into some of that later on, but for now I'm just going to go through simply using some shoulder pads that I bought that I'm going to be using on these 10 Space Marines. I got one set that's going to be just for the Ultramarine shoulder pad, and one set that shows that they're a tactical squad, and we're going to be going through that. Remember, these are metal bits, so one of the things I decided to do, and I always do with metal, is I always try to put on a couple of light coats of primer. Whenever I use metal, I always find that I have a lot more difficulty than doing the plastic, so in this case I actually use 3 light coats of white primer for it. We're going to get right down to it right now. Alright, now the first thing that we're going to do, like with all of our other miniatures, we're going to put on foundation paint. Foundation's going to work just as well on metal as they have been on plastic. Something that you don't have to be extremely careful on, although I know that my symbols are going to be white, my border is going to be gold. So I'm going to stay away from those as much as possible. Like I said, if I make a slight oops, that's fine. And since I have to paint like this instead of the way I'd normally paint, it's probably going to happen. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to add some inks, kind of give it that shadow effect. Now again, you don't have to be extremely careful with this. It's going to find the recesses kind of on its own. If you accidentally put too much in one spot, you can always go back over it with when your brush is a little bit more thinned out, a little bit dried out, and pick up some of those excesses. Primary layer of painting. So we're going to do this as carefully as possible so that everybody can see what I'm doing. And we're going to try to be a little bit more careful than we have been in the recent past, because now we're starting to get to the point where we want to have less mistakes. And as we do this, we're going to be also touching on the areas where we haven't really went before. Okay, now we're just going to add a little bit of highlights to this. And go through and touch it up.
comes with them.